The PlayStation 2 is absolutely one of my favorite devices to play. But when it comes to, let's say, dongle solutions, oh boy, it's absolutely a rabbit hole. There are all kinds of different, like say, cheap dongles that you can pick up, and some of them are a little bit more expensive than the other one. In this video, I wanted to chit chat with you guys which one is the best one for you, because there are some differences that you need to take consideration. Many different ways to play, but in this video I wanted to chit chat with you guys about the best solution for you. So first of all, when it comes to differences, it's mostly when it comes to build quality and image that comes out of the machine, or at least out of the dongle itself. So I'm just going to be starting off this thing. It's absolutely garbage. Yep, I'm just through with it, because this is absolutely so horrible. So the best will be basically between three of them to make it easy. So by having two cheap solutions with the PS2 to HDMI and the Bitfunks and the May Flash. So where the May Flash is an overall, let's say, smaller construction and overall better build quality, especially when it comes to plugging this thing in. Yeah, there are some things you need to know, because when it comes to the quality, does it really justify the price? Okay, so when it comes to these dongles and also the let me grab it, the cheap one over here. So these three, and it's kind of weird that they still use the mini USB. Yeah, something that is a little bit of a problematic in the future, because these cables, I don't know how with you, but I don't have a lot of them anymore, because you don't use it anymore. Where the May Flash will have the USB-C, that's so much more common nowadays, so that is very good. But when you're looking at the way how you need to plug it in, it's all going to be the same. But I've noticed, like with every single one of them, there is a slightly difference. You can see, like, you can wiggle it around, you can just put it in, but the overall quality is quite different. So for example, this yellow or orange version, and you're plugging in the PlayStation 2 HDMI, you can see that they both have the same problem. With the Bitfunks, this has been improved, but it's fitting in way better, feels more sturdy when it comes to the connection. But this is where basically the May Flash will shine, because this thing fits in so much better, more resistance, so you need to put quite a lot of force to put it in, but you can see that we don't wiggle around anymore. So when it comes to the overall build quality of the May Flash in a combination with the USB-C, yeah, the May Flash is absolutely improvement in that. But let's talk about the cable itself, or what kind of options and signal outputs we're having. But there are actually three different ways you connect your PlayStation 2. Over here having the AV out, this is the worst signal of all three of them. Then having the RGB. The RGB, take consideration, do offer, let's say, different qualities of RGB cables, but you can have a nice and minor difference between the overall quality and of course the component. And basically these are the three ways you can connect your cable. This dongle utilizes the AV out, and that's also the reason why it can actually use PlayStation 1, but the signal output is pretty damn bad compared with all the other ones. And where this PlayStation 2 to HDMI utilize and converts, let's say, the component signal, the best signal, and basically puts it out in another, let's say, weird conversion. The biggest downside to this particular, let's say, conversion is that not every PlayStation 2 fat model will use this, simply because the 30,000 of the first generation of PlayStation 2 will have no signal output when it comes to this dongle. Okay, so the first one, already mentioned before, this thing is so bad, and you can see it when doing the side-by-side comparison. This thing utilized the worst signal output. It's even worse than AV out. I don't know how they managed to do that, but that's the reason why I didn't like it at the first place. So first of all, so we're having three different solutions over here, but all of them will use the same component signal out. And I've noticed with, let's say, this particular version, PlayStation 2 HDMI, the colors look slightly, like say, more contrast, and yeah, I don't really like that at all. And of course, if you love that, yeah, it's all up to you. It's more like a personal thing. But when you're looking at both of these, let's say, HDMI dongles, they are quite similar when it comes to the overall quality. Yeah, and there we're having the question, are you going to pay more for the overall build quality and shorter design, or are you getting like the cheap and you're just using the Bitfunks and just be satisfied with that? Where most of the dongles struggle with this 30,000 first generation PlayStation 2, the May Flash, it seems to be like a freaking miracle. Mine version actually works on this model. And it's quite interesting, because with all the other cheap models, or at least the dongles I've reviewed, none of them, including the PlayStation 2 HDMI, have the option to actually use on this, because they utilize the component cable and doesn't work. We have the PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 HDMI. Of course you can use it always for the older models, but that thing is so horrible you don't want to use it at all. For the AV out, I'm using this basic and cheap HD video converter. It also been using with the RGB cable. This is going to be for the basic signals, and I just wanted to compare this with the dongles itself. And for the component, I will use the component to HDMI converter. And this will also give us a very clear idea, if you're going to be comparing this with the dongles, how will they utilize the original connection that comes out of the system and how will they convert it when it comes to the colors or the contrast and everything else. But with this dongle and the component signal output it's utilizing, what is very cool that we can force sustain in the 60Hz progressive 480p. Yep, that is one of those perks that you're getting with the right PlayStation 2 model in combination with this dongle. We have this amazing 480p signal output. And I will give you like a quick overview.
Race for the top position. Race for the top position.
But let's start off with the full comparison of all the different solutions. So let's go into the training mode and let's start with just the AV out, RGB, and we're going to be scaling this up all the way to basically the best signal that we're getting with the component signal output. So first let's take a close look at the AV out signal. The AV out signal is basically the worst signal you can get from your PlayStation 2. Having a good RGB cable will make the display so much more beautiful and it's more colorful and a little bit more sharpness. But when it comes to the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 dongle, oh boy, this looks absolutely worse than the AV out. It's absolutely crazy how they managed to mess that part up. But moving up to the component cable, that is also quite interesting. So the component cable is absolutely a great solution. Now having this converter and all the shenanigans, it's not easy to use. But let's take a close look at version number 1 that utilizes this particular signal. You can just see there is some colors difference between the version 1 dongle, but also the component cable. We're now moving on to the version number 2. And this one comes really close to the authentic original component cable. But okay, so the version 2 looks authentic almost to the component signal output. But let's switch over to the May Flash. And with this, I don't see any differences when it comes to the overall quality. So the quality of the May Flash is, in my opinion, similar to the version 2 of the Bitfunks or cheap dongle from AliExpress. My personal favorite will be the Bitfunks due of the price point. This thing is so dirt cheap that is absolutely laughable. But again, if you want to have more quality when it comes to the build, Mayflash will be the best choice for you. It's a minor difference when it comes to the money, but hey, it's a difference. Let me know which one did you buy. Thank you all for watching. I hope this video helped out. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it would be great to just see you in the next video.